I don't know. I don't know if I would say there was some type of stress. Obviously, some with Goody being gone and having some of the guys that were with us in the playoff run as well.
We all got friends. We all got people that we worked with that either got fired or moved on to better jobs. Get the hell over yourself. One last thing before we start the mock draft, everybody. Got a report on this tweet, and I got 3 guys. I have to talk about this with them. It was last year that several Rangers met at our Tevin Panarin's house a couple weeks before training camp to bid Barclay Goodrow a farewell before he left for San Jose. At the gathering, plenty of players openly expressed their resentment for Chris Drury and his handling of the Goodrow and Trouba situations. Matt, I'll start with you on this one. This is just another nail in the coffin of this is the most unprofessional group of players that were put together, right?
I mean, I can't really say that I'm shocked because, we've all kind of pointed to this and say, like, this is who they are as a group. And, I mean, like I said, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because, listen, at the end of the day, I'm all for having close relationships with your teammates because at the end of the day, like, when you're a team, you're supposed to be a tight-knit group. You're supposed to be a family. I don't have any type of problem with that. And over the course of, a career, you're going to develop close relationships with guys. My problem is that you're bitching and moaning because there's repercussions for failure. And at the end of the day, you're a professional athlete. You're making a lot of money. You're being paid a lot of money to play a game. At the end of the day, there's only one goal, and that's to win a championship, and that's to bring a cup home back to your team. And they didn't do that. They failed last year. And usually when you fail, there's repercussions and there's consequences. And I'm sorry, if you're a professional athlete and you can't handle that there needs to be consequences and that there needs to be changes to rosters when you come up short and don't complete your ultimate goal, then you're not fit enough to be a professional athlete. Like, that's just how it is. Like I said, there's consequences for failure. They came up short, they got dominated in the conference final, and there had to be changes. Both Trouba and Goodrow didn't die. They're still alive. They're still playing this league. They have phones, right? You could pick up your phone. You could call these guys. You could text them. I just, like I said, I'm not shocked that this is how they handle it. It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. And, I mean, these guys just need to be moved off the team as quickly as possible. And, a whole just dynamic change in this core is much needed.
And, by the way, NWare for Life is saying it right here. Mika was still complaining about it at the end of the season. And Evan, it was just apparent they never wanted to get over this.
Yeah, the fact that, especially Mika's case, he was saying it's the hardest thing that he's dealt with in his career, considering he's dealt with, like, concussions and all these other injuries before. Really? This is the most difficult thing that you're dealing with throughout your entire career? It's just complete and utterly ridiculous. I'm not surprised considering going into the year, you have Trouba saying the last dance type comment thing, which kind of set the tone early that this team was going to just rebel and not give it their all. I think they kind of benefited off a soft schedule at the start of last season, which kind of made it seem like, all right, they're not quitting. Like, it kind of glossed over the fact that deep down, they didn't want to play here. They were quitting and rebelling against the team. The other problem I have with the thing that Matt was saying is this is a salary cap based league. So moves are going to be made accordingly to that. If you really want to be with your best friends and stay together, then take discounts. Then why didn't you take discounts to play here? That's the other problem that I have there, because you have a fourth liner, like Is This Better was saying. They got rid of one of the statistically worst players in Barclay Goodrow, and they're complaining because, we're trying to make the team better. Like, that's the thing that Drury, yes, he does not make the right moves, and, I'm very vocal about being against Drury. But at the end of the day, he's got to do what's best for the team, and that's what he was doing by getting rid of Barclay Goodrow, getting rid of Jacob Trouba. And the fact that these guys can't be professionals when there are people in the real world that have to go on business trips and go months without seeing their significant others, without seeing their families. They don't complain. They do their job because they can just make a phone call. If you want to be with your friends, spend time with them in the off season. Do that gathering at Panarin's house over the summer. Do an entire weekend, whatever you want to do. You got all this money. You could fly across the country whenever you want to see each other. It's just complete and utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, Phil, what's your reaction to this? Because the optics of this, it just doesn't look good.
When you ask for a contract, like just like with like us, with like any job that you get, like when you get hired, you have to live up to a standard. You have to perform to a certain standard. And the guys that are being mentioned here, like Barclay Goodrow and Jacob Trouba, they asked for contracts that they could not live up to. And they knew they couldn't live up to these contracts. And then finally, when they're held accountable for it, there's a problem. That to me is the biggest thing, and that pisses me off the most. So you know that you were getting more than you were worth. You know that you were getting all this extra money that you probably shouldn't have been getting. And then when you get called out for it, then it's a problem. So why is it a problem then, but it's not a problem when you're getting all that extra money that you really didn't deserve? And then for the other players on the team to know this, because they all know what they're earning. It's not like you can't look it up. It's public record. For them to support that, and then to really kind of quit on the team for making moves to try to make the team better and to get to the goal, it's probably the worst group of collective players that I've ever seen, ever, in any sport.
You don't like it? Leave.
I would rather watch an island of misfit toys struggle to keep up with good teams than watch a bunch of entitled losers sit there and complain because two guys that weren't pulling their own weight got moved.
Follow my advice and fire your fucking ass, because a loser is a loser.
Chris Drury handled everything wrong. Well, Jacob Trouba shouldn't have leaked out that, he wouldn't report to teams that weren't on his no trade list because he didn't have full no trade protection and no move protection anymore. And Barclay Goodrow should have just accepted a trade because they knew that he wanted out. And he knew that there was the possibility that he was going to get waived. So he should have accepted a trade to go where he wanted to go, and he would have been okay. And instead, he gets waived, and that's it. At the end of the day, this is a business. You have to do what you have to do to make the team better, and the goal is to win the Stanley Cup. And their reaction to moan and cry about this is just unacceptable by any means. By any means, it is unacceptable. And you can't have it. So all these guys that were a part of this, they have to go.
You arrogant ass. You've killed us.
Listen, I'm on board with this. I think no movement clauses are complete bullshit. I get rid of them. I can't stand it. It basically gives somebody protection against not performing up to their contract. And you know what? You could say that about the NFL. Oh, well, it's kind of cutthroat in the NFL. Well, no, the NFL holds players accountable. The NHL has full guaranteed contracts. Full. Like, you're guaranteed it unless you get bought out. Even if you get sent down, you don't have trade protection. You get sent down to the minors, if you're on a one-way contract, you're still getting that NHL salary. So these are guaranteed contracts. God forbid the GM try to make the team any better. And that's really what it comes down to. These guys complained about it, and you got to move on from them. So good on them to get rid of the guys that they've gotten rid of already. I hope there's
the thing about it that I hate even more is that these guys are acting like they actually won something. They actually won something in this league. I'm sorry, but compare this situation to the Tampa Bay Lightning. After they lost the final in 2022 to Colorado, Julian Breezeball had to make a tough decision. He had to move Ryan McDonough for salary purpose reasons. And he went to Ryan McDonough, a guy that just won back-to-back cups, by the way. Probably one of the better defensemen that we've seen recently over the last couple of years. And he said, look, you're either going to accept the trade or you're going to go on waivers. This is how it is. They had the discussion. He eventually said, okay, fine, I'll get traded. Go to last offseason. They look at how quickly they moved on from Steven Stamkos, a guy, by the way, that's gonna go into the Hockey Hall of Fame, gonna get his number retired by the Tampa Bay Lightning, arguably the best player in Tampa Bay Lightning franchise history, and they treated him like, go away. We don't need you anymore.
So that's it after 20 years. So long, good luck.
I don't recall playing good luck.
I'm sorry, did I see Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Victor Hedman, Andrei Vasilevsky have a freaking team meeting at one of their houses and say, oh, I can't believe this is how Julian Breezeball's treating us. He doesn't realize we won back-to-back cups, right? No, they're professional about it. They said, listen, it is what it is. It's a business. Changes need to be made to the roster, and we moved on, which is how you should be as a professional athlete and a professional team. But I guess it's different over here for these guys, even though, like I said, they've won nothing in their careers.
Exactly, and that's part of the problem. They've won nothing, and it's something that they needed to understand. You have to improve the team. Look, the Detroit Red Wings were the best team in NHL history in 95, 96, and they looked at Paul Coffey, who was fresh recently off of a Norris Trophy season, and said, you got to go, buddy, and we're going to bring in Brendan Shanahan for you. Did they quit? Did they turn around and go, oh, no, let's all shut up? No. And they could have held this meeting at Panarin's house in May because Panarin didn't show up in the playoffs. Even after all the defending I've done for him, look, I got to also admit the fact he scored one meaningless goal with, 45 seconds remaining in Game 6 of the conference finals. After Game 3 of the Carolina series, he was gone as it was anyway. So this is one of those things, looking at the New York Rangers, all these guys are going, well, we earned this right to be all pissy. No, you didn't. And Mika Zibanejad, you went through one of the worst statistical first halves you ever had. You lost your position as a number one center. And you're talking about Barclay Goodrow. I don't know what I'm going to do without the fourth line player on my team. We all got friends. We all got people that we worked with that either got fired or moved on to better jobs. Get the hell over yourself. As much as I want to say you're like a family, sort of like the kids' table, sitting there at family gatherings. If you're sitting there and you're joking around with everybody, time to get real when you go to the adults. And most of the time when people go to the adults table, it's because somebody in the family is gone. So it's never really for good reasons. Just wake up. Remember your professional athletes. Wayne Gretzky got traded. Anybody could get traded. So get over yourselves, and certainly don't quit on your team, because the 88, 89 Oilers didn't quit, even though I believe they lost to the Kings in the playoffs that year.
They did.
And then the year after that, they won the Stanley Cup because they wanted to prove they could do it without Gretz. Just all this. Mark fired up after having a career. Well, it wasn't a career night. If you actually, there was several other better games that I've had. I never even saw the comment.
Going 2 assists for Mark Williams last night.
Yeah,
Mark was spoiled last night.
it was a good night, especially for a 47-year-old old man. So, click that subscribe button for all the up-to-date information we can give you on the New York Rangers, the New York Islanders, and all of the NHL as we cover the league every week in our NHL Bar Talk.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.